I won $8 million. But my own son and his wife turned my dream into a nightmare. They smiled to my face while secretly cutting me out, stealing what was mine. With every dollar that vanished, I started digging, fighting, refusing to be erased. Now, I'm not just battling for money. I'm fighting for my name, my dignity, and the truth. What would you do if the people you loved most became your greatest threat? I stand beneath the orange glare of the streetlight, my reflection wavering in the convenience store's dusty window. The world behind me blurs, traffic crawling, rain stuttering against the pavement. But here, in this silent pocket of the night, my universe narrows to the small rectangle of hope trembling between my fingers. My hands shake, not from the chill, though summer is already yielding to fall and the air nips at my knuckles, but from something electric, restless, something that feels dangerously close to hope. It's just a scratch-off. One ticket, bought with the loose change fished from the bottom of my purse after picking up milk and bread, necessities I can afford, luxuries I can't. The cashier had smiled in that automatic, practiced way, and I'd smiled back. But we both knew. Women like me, late 50s, clothes faded from too many cycles, hair gone from chestnut to gray and stubborn patches, don't win jackpots. We clutch at tiny chances because sometimes that's all life gives us. Still, the ticket glimmers, teasing with the promise that maybe, just this once, something might go right. The city lights behind me pulse, amber and red, rain-slicked streets reflecting their glow. I press my thumb over the silver film, feeling the raised lines. I think of my son, Logan, and how his jaw always clenches when I call, like he's bracing for a demand, a complaint, another piece of his past trying to cling to his future. I think of Amber, her voice tight, polite, careful never to let her guard slip when I'm around. I think of my little apartment, the cracked linoleum, the dusty photos of Logan as a boy smiling up at me from frames that never quite stay straight. I think about how more than money, what I really want is for my family to need me again. Or maybe just want me. But tonight is about the ticket. I duck into the alley's shadow, away from the store's fluorescent glare, and steady my breath. I dig a coin from my coat pocket, Canadian, a remnant from a trip we took when Logan was 12, back when things felt simple and my laugh came easily. I press it to the foil, scratch. The silver flakes curl away, dusting my thumb. I watch the symbols emerge, numbers and icons, meaningless until they're not. My heart thuds, too loud, too hopeful. I keep scratching, my pulse climbing with every reveal. The rain taps in sync with my heart, a slow, relentless rhythm. My breath clouds in the air. The ticket looks like every other, but as the final number appears, my body goes cold, then hot, a current zipping through my veins. I blink, not sure I'm seeing it right. 8, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. I stagger back a step. The world seems to tilt. I flip the ticket, check the rules, the numbers line up. The little gold emblem at the bottom glints like a wink from fate. $8 million. A laugh slips out of me, startled, hoarse. It ricochets off the brick and dissolves in the night. I clutch the ticket tighter, afraid to breathe, afraid it will vanish if I do. 8 million. I try to picture it, what that kind of money even means, what it could buy, what it could fix. But almost instantly, the thrill blurs into something else. A cautious, aching hope that maybe this is what I needed to bring my family back together. Maybe Logan will pick up the phone and not sound rushed. Maybe Amber's eyes will soften. Maybe she'll let me hold my granddaughter without glancing at the clock. Maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to something that feels like love. I need to hear someone say it, to confirm I'm not dreaming. With hands that still shake, I fumble for my phone, thumb fumbling across the screen. I scroll to Logan's number. My finger hovers, then presses call. He picks up after the third ring. I can hear the background noise. Cartoons, maybe? Or the buzz of a dishwasher. His voice is wary, as always. Mom, it's late. Is everything okay? My throat closes around the words, but I force them out. Logan, look, I think it's real. My voice trembles, raw with disbelief, and something like joy. I won. Logan, I think I actually won. $8 million. There's a pause. I can picture him on the other end. His eyebrows pulled together, mouth a thin line. What? Mom, slow down. I press the ticket to my chest. The rain is picking up, A heavier drizzle now, but I barely feel it. The lottery ticket. I just scratched it. 8 million. I swear I'm holding it in my hand. Amber's voice is faint in the background. She's asking what's wrong, whether everything is all right. Logan repeats what I said, disbelieving. She says she won the lottery. 8 million. I hear Amber laugh, short and disbelieving. That's wow. Really? My pulse roars. It's real, Logan. I'm not making it up. My voice edges toward pleading, desperate for him to believe, to share this moment with me. There's another long pause. Then Logan exhales. Okay, Mom, just hang on. Don't lose that ticket, okay? We'll come over. We'll check it out together. The call ends. I stare down at the ticket, at the shimmering numbers. My mind spins. What now? I tuck it carefully into my wallet, heart still slamming. The world feels different. Lighter, maybe? Or simply possible in a way it never has before. As I step out from the alley, the street seems to shimmer, every raindrop turning to silver in the streetlight's glare. My old life, with all its cracks and quiet disappointments, stands behind me. Ahead, something new waits, terrifying and dazzling. $8 million, a number big enough to shatter every pattern, every distance, every silence that's built up between me and the people I love. Or so I hope. Tonight, everything changes. When Logan and Amber arrive, the apartment feels smaller than ever. The air thick with a new kind of electricity. Logan bursts in first, tall and awkward, still boyish in the way he glances around the cluttered living room, shoes scattered, half-folded laundry on the sofa, the worn photo of us on the wall. He moves quickly, too quickly, eyes darting for the prize. Amber follows, slower, arms crossed over her chest, eyes bright and restless beneath perfectly shaped brows. There's a new edge to her tonight, a tension that pulls her mouth into a careful, almost apologetic smile. I see her looking at everything, evaluating. It makes me want to start tidying, to apologize for the mess and the peeling wallpaper and the way my life has always looked. A little too lived in, a little too small. I sit at the kitchen table, the winning ticket held flat between my palms like a holy relic. My heart hammers as Logan drops into the chair across from me, practically bouncing with excitement. "Show me, Mom," he says, voice barely containing himself. I push the ticket forward. He picks it up, mouth falling open as he reads, then rereads the numbers. His hands are steadier than mine. He laughs, loud, unguarded, almost the way he did when he was a kid. "Oh my God, Mom, you really did it. 8 million. He looks at Amber, eyes wide. "Can you believe this?" Amber gives that smile again, softer, but I catch the flicker in her eyes, a quick, darting calculation. She glances at me, then at the ticket, then back at Logan, as if she's trying to weigh us both in some invisible scale. Her fingers trace circles on the countertop, the only hint of her nerves. "I mean, wow," she says, but her voice is careful, measured, not quite reaching her eyes. "This is huge." Her gaze lingers on the ticket, then flickers back to me. "We'll handle this together," she says softly, laying her hand over Logan's. Her words are meant to reassure, but something in me twinges. The phrase is too rehearsed, too even. It doesn't fit. I want to believe her, but the smile she gives me doesn't reach the corners of her mouth. There's a slight narrowing of her eyes, a flash of something else. Possessiveness? Caution? I can't be sure. Logan, though, is all light and energy. "Mom, this changes everything. We can finally help you out, get you a better place, maybe even that vacation you always wanted. We'll figure out how to cash this safely. Maybe a lawyer, right?" Amber is nodding, but her smile is brittle. "Yes, a lawyer, definitely. There are a lot of scams and taxes. We need to be careful." She looks at Logan, then at me. "But before we do anything, maybe we should sit down, make a plan, talk about what you want, what's best for everyone." Her voice is so even, so reasonable, I almost believe it's concern, but I can't ignore the subtle warning in her eyes. The way she leans in just a fraction closer to Logan, marking her territory. Her posture is protective, defensive, a line drawn between us, mother and wife. The three of us hover around the table, the ticket resting between us like a bomb waiting to go off. Logan is already dreaming out loud, lists of what he'd buy, ways to spend, the problems he could fix. Amber keeps her hand on his arm, grounding him, gently steering the conversation back to we, us, family. I hear myself agreeing, but underneath, my mind is running, cataloging every flicker of hesitation in Amber's voice. Suddenly, it all feels fragile. I see the cracks appearing, spider webbing out from the ticket in front of us. I remember my own mother, sharp, wary, always on edge. Money meant suspicion, disappointment, fights in the kitchen after I'd gone to bed. My father's promises, always broken. My mother's warnings, always muttered under her breath when she thought I couldn't hear. Don't trust them, Helen. People change when there's something to gain. I'd hated how she said it, the way she shrank from joy. But now the words circle in my chest, cold and heavy. Maybe that's why I cling to Logan's laughter. For a moment, I let myself picture the world he sees. Possibilities, redemption, maybe even belonging. But Amber's presence is like a shadow creeping in at the edges. As we talk, I watch her closely. Her eyes keep flicking to the ticket, then to Logan, then back to me. She's polite, but every word feels wrapped in velvet, hiding the steel underneath. She leans forward, lowering her voice as if confiding. Helen, I know this is a lot. We're here for you. We want to help however we can. But it's life-changing. People will come out of the woodwork. We need to be smart. I nod, grateful for her concern, but also stung. Smart? Am I not smart? Am I not capable? I want to protest, to remind her I've made it this far alone, but I bite my tongue. I want their help, their approval. I want to be wanted. Logan's face is shining, full of hope. We'll make sure no one takes advantage of you, Mom, we promise. But Amber's grip on his arm tightens. For a moment, I see something unguarded. Fear, ambition, a calculation running behind her eyes. She is good at hiding it, but I've spent too long on the outside of things not to notice when I'm being managed. They stay for hours, circling plans, making lists, calling out options. But every solution, every next step, gets filtered through Amber. Her voice is calm, soothing, but her words always direct the flow. She suggests bank accounts, trusts, lawyers. Her family has a friend, she mentions, someone they can trust. Logan nods eagerly, not noticing the way Amber keeps the conversation moving forward, never quite letting me hold on to the decision. By midnight, I'm exhausted. They leave with promises. Logan hugs me tighter than he has in years. Amber gives my shoulder a squeeze, smiling just a beat too long. When the door closes, I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. I sit in the quiet, the ticket still in my hand. I feel joy, but also a creeping dread. I remember my mother's face, the way her mouth twisted when she talked about money, about trust. I sense it, even now, the beginning of something sharp and dangerous forming beneath the surface. The ticket, instead of bringing us together, is already carving lines between us. I don't sleep. I lie awake, replaying the evening, picking at every detail. Amber's eyes, sharp and quick, flicking from me to the ticket and back. Her smile, the way it faltered when Logan looked away. I remember the way she leaned into him, whispering something as I left the room to fetch coffee. Her hand on his, her eyes on the door. It isn't until the next morning that I find my suspicion confirmed. The apartment is quiet. The air smells of old coffee and rain. My phone dings. A message from Logan. Amber thinks maybe I should handle the money stuff for you. She says you might feel less stressed that way. We want what's best, okay? Love you, Mom. I stare at the message, cold spreading through my chest. We want what's best. Who's best? I feel the old wound open. The sense of being managed, excluded, just like when I was a girl in my mother's kitchen, watching the adults make choices over my head. I close my eyes, clutching the ticket. The seeds of doubt are planted, and I know nothing will ever be the same. The prize that should have united us is already pulling us apart. The air bites hard this morning, and my coat is too thin for the cold that settled over the city. I stand on the corner, hands jammed deep into my pockets, watching my breath billow and vanish in front of the Frost and Hewitt Bank. Through the double-glass doors, Logan and Amber disappear into the warmth, each glancing back at me, quick, apologetic smiles, like I'm a child waiting outside the principal's office. Amber says, "We'll only be a minute." But it's been half an hour now, and the wind is slicing right through my sleeves. People hustle past, their faces tucked low, shoes slapping against icy concrete. I stare at the big blue poster taped to the inside window, turn windfalls into wealth. And for a moment, it feels like a joke at my expense. They left me outside, again. I try to rationalize it. Bank policy, Amber said. Just easier if one of us goes in first. I nodded, pretending to agree. After all, what do I know about trusts or investment portfolios or financial advisors with names like Peter or Todd? My life savings have always fit in a coffee tin, hidden under the kitchen sink. Still, there's something ugly about being left out here, pacing like a stranger on the street, heart thudding with a shame I can't quite name. I wrap my arms tighter around myself, remembering the words my mother used to hiss when my father let his brother help with their money. Don't let them shut you out. Don't act helpless. Her voice rings in my ears, warning me. I watch Logan's blurry figure at the window, shoulders hunched, nodding at something the banker says. Amber, lips pressed thin, leans in, keeping her back to me. There are walls being built, I realize. Walls I can't see through, can't climb over. When they finally emerge, their faces are flushed and bright, but Logan won't meet my eyes. Amber smiles, too wide, handing me a paper cup of lukewarm coffee. Sorry, Helen, it was all forms and signatures. We'll get you in next time. I want to ask what happened, what they signed, why I couldn't be there. But the words taste sour, so I just nod, pretending not to notice the paper crumpled in Amber's fist. My fingers ache from the cold as we walk back to the car. Logan tries to talk about anything else. Sports, traffic, how fast the holidays are coming. I ride in the back seat, clutching my cup and staring out the window as the city blurs past, silent and cold. That evening, I can't shake the feeling of being pushed to the edges of my own life. I stew in my tiny kitchen, the hum of the old refrigerator louder than usual. My thoughts spiral back to every moment I'd been excluded as a girl. Money conversations whispered after bedtime, grown-ups keeping secrets because I wouldn't understand. My mother's constant worry, her hands raw from work, her eyes always darting, calculating, never trusting. She'd tell me, people change when there's money. Don't let them do it to you. I hear the same refrain now, only this time it's my own voice in my head. I reach for the phone. Rachel picks up on the second ring, her voice warm and brassy, cutting through my gloom. Helen, you sound like you swallowed a lemon. What's going on? I tell her everything. About the ticket, the plans, the meetings at the bank that I'm not invited to. My words tumble out, part confession, part plea for sense. Rachel listens, the way she always does, with the patience of someone who's seen her own share of heartbreak. I hear her breathing, imagining her at her kitchen table, cat in her lap, tea steaming. You have to stand your ground, she says, her voice sharp with concern. Don't give them free rein, Helen. This is your money. You're not a guest at your own table. I laugh, but it comes out bitter. Feels like I'm not even in the house anymore. Rachel sighs. You always do this, you know. You try to keep the peace. You let people steer until you're lost. This is different. You have the power now. Don't give it away. I picture Amber's careful smile, Logan's averted eyes. I want to believe this is just growing pains, that they're protecting me. But I can't ignore how quickly decisions are being made without me. What if they're right? I say quietly. I've never had this kind of money. I don't know what to do with it. Rachel's voice softens. Nobody does at first, but it's still yours. Don't let them make you feel small. Ask questions, demand answers. If you don't, you'll regret it. I've seen it before. Money can build walls if you let it. A memory stirs. My mother counting bills at the table, every penny accounted for, her knuckles white as she tried to control the only thing she could. Her fear became my inheritance. Now I feel it tightening in my chest, the weight of past generations pressing down. Rachel, what if I lose them? My voice cracks, the truth slipping out. What if fighting back just pushes them further away? Rachel is quiet for a moment, then says, real family doesn't want you silent. And if they do, that's on them, not you. We sit with the silence. I feel the old ache of wanting to belong, to be part of something solid. But I also feel the edges sharpening, the line between inclusion and exclusion, between trust and suspicion. As I hang up, I know I can't pretend anymore. The money isn't a gift, it's a test. I need to find my place, not let myself be written out. The barriers are growing, invisible but solid as glass. I look at the ticket, still locked in my drawer. Outside, the winter night presses close, cold and unforgiving. Inside, the walls are going up, one silent exclusion at a time. Dinner at Logan and Amber's is always a test. I tell myself to dress up, nice sweater, hair brushed, a little blush to mask the tiredness. The rain is relentless, lashing the windows, lighting flickering now and then. Inside, their house glows with soft lamps and the steady tick of a clock, but every surface gleams, every napkin folded just so, every plate in its proper place. There's an order here that isn't mine. The table is set for 3, the silverware straight as soldiers. Amber greets me at the door, her smile crisp, her gaze flicking from my shoes to my hair. "Oh, Helen, let me take your coat. You must be soaked." There's warmth in her words, but it floats on the surface. I shrug off my coat, careful not to drip on the entryway rug. Logan appears, smiling a little too brightly, and hugs me with one arm before drifting away, already distracted. Dinner is roast chicken, potatoes, a salad full of things I never buy for myself. Amber pours the wine, white, a little sharp, and fills Logan's glass almost to the brim, mine only halfway. I watch her hands, graceful, always in motion, and feel clumsy by comparison. We make small talk. Amber asks about my neighbor's yappy dog, about the rain, about whether I've adjusted to not working. Every question feels like an audit, polite but sharp. Logan listens, eyes mostly on his plate. I find myself shrinking, careful with my words, not wanting to stir anything. A flash of lightning cuts through the window, illuminating Amber's face, smooth, composed, every expression practiced. For a moment, she studies me, and I know something's coming. "You know, Helen," she says, refolding her napkin, "money can be overwhelming, especially if you're not used to it. I read an article about winners who lose everything in a year because they don't know how to handle it. It must be a big adjustment." There's a sting in her tone, something just under the surface. I force a smile, heart pounding. "I suppose so. I've always managed, though, just on a smaller scale." She nods, but there's a flicker of impatience. "Of course, but that's why we want to help. It's easy to get emotional about these things." I feel the heat rise in my face. Logan shifts in his seat, eyes glued to his fork. I want him to speak up, to say I'm doing fine, that I can handle this, but he just swirls his wine, silent. Amber continues, voice soft but pointed. "Sometimes when people get emotional, they make mistakes. I just want to protect the family." I try to swallow my frustration, but it sits in my chest like a stone. "I'm not being emotional. I just want to be involved. It's my—" She cuts in, still smiling. "No one's excluding you, Helen. We just want what's best. Maybe let Logan handle things for a bit, give yourself less to worry about." My insecurities roar up, unbidden. You're too old, too naive, too grateful to ask for more. I hear my mother's voice, warning me to be thankful, not to stir up trouble. Women like us shouldn't expect too much. Take what you're given and say thank you. The words snake through me, poisoning the air. Lightning flashes again. The table glows, shadows leaping on the walls. I study the plates, the neatness of it all, and realize how out of place I feel. My own home is small, cluttered, the edges worn soft by years of use. Here, everything is sharp, precise, and I'm a guest in every sense. I look at Logan, searching for some sign, an ally, a lifeline, but his eyes are down, his jaw tight. He's withdrawn, vanished into himself. When I finally speak, my voice trembles. "Logan, do you think I'm overreacting?" He flinches, glances at Amber, then back at me. "Mom, you're overreacting. We're just trying to help. Can we not do this tonight?" The words slice deep, colder than the rain outside. I press my lips together, forcing a smile. "Of course, I want to be sure." Amber leans back, sipping her wine. "It's stressful for everyone. Why not just let Logan handle it? You've got enough on your plate, Helen." Something in me snaps, quiet, internal, but final. I nod along, finish my chicken, and let the rest of the conversation wash over me. I'm praised for being reasonable, for not making it harder. I laugh when Amber jokes about lottery winners who buy boats and tigers. I watch Logan drain his glass and avoid my eyes. But inside, I'm pulling away, retreating. If they want me silent, I can play that part. But I won't be blind. Back home, I stay up late, nerves buzzing. I log into my banking app, a habit I never had before, but necessity sharpens instinct. I start tracking the accounts Amber and Logan opened, for my own good. I click through statements, scanning for anything unusual. My fingers tremble, not from ignorance, but from fear. Fear that I'm seeing what I don't want to see. There are small withdrawals, each marked transfer, each just below the threshold that would trigger a call. $50 here, 100 there. It adds up. A slow, steady leak. My stomach knots. I scroll further, trying to convince myself there's an explanation. Maybe bills, maybe something I forgot. But the pattern is too clean, too careful. I save every screenshot. I start a ledger, just like my mother did with her bills on the kitchen table. I remember how she used to watch the mailman, how every envelope was suspect. I hated that suspicion, the way it poisoned our home. Now it's mine. For days, I watch and wait. The withdrawals continue, steady as rain against the window. Logan calls, cheerful but distant, asking if I need groceries, if I've settled into this new life. Amber texts reminders, doctor's appointments, birthdays, polite but perfunctory. I reply, friendly but short, watching every word. I feel myself shrinking, the walls of gratitude closing in. I want to confront them, but the voice inside whispers, "Don't rock the boat. Don't be the problem. Be grateful." At night, I replay the dinner. Amber's smile, Logan's silence, the way the storm outside seemed to echo the storm inside me. I lie awake, thinking of all the times I let myself be pushed aside, all the times I made myself small so others could be comfortable. I hear my mother's warnings, her sadness, her resentment. I wonder if I'll become her, if I haven't already. But this time, I'm tracking every penny, every slight. This time, I won't be blindsided. The conflict is no longer hidden. It's in every interaction, every careful word, every transaction logged. The stakes are rising, and the air between us is charged, waiting for the next flash, the next crack of thunder that will shatter what little remains of trust. The bank office smells faintly of polished wood and printer toner. Rain streaks down the tall windows, blurring the outside world into a watery smear of grays and browns. I sit in a chair that is too stiff, too upright, hands folded tight in my lap. My coat is draped over the arm, still damp from the walk-in. Logan sits across from me, leaning forward, face set in a mask of calm determination. Amber is beside him, hands clasped, lips pressed together in a careful line, eyes sharp and watchful. The banker, a woman this time, with a gentle voice and an expression that says she's seen it all before, slides a stack of documents across the desk. I watch the papers fan out. Bold, black type, my name printed alongside Logan's, legal language I barely understand. Terms like power of attorney, trustee, right of access. The words seemed to shrink and stretch as I read, dancing away from my understanding. Logan speaks softly, almost apologetic, as if he knows he's asking for something he shouldn't. "Mom, this is just a precaution. We're not taking anything away from you. It's just in case anything happens. You know, health stuff. Amber and I want to make sure you're protected." Amber nods, saying nothing. Her eyes rest on me for a moment, measured, coldly reassuring. She's the one who suggested this, I realize. The meeting, the documents, the lawyer's tone. I wonder if she's already imagined a future where my name is only a shadow on the account, where my presence is only necessary for a signature, not a voice. I pick up the pen. My hand shakes. The banker points out the signature lines, the initials. I glance at Logan, hoping for a flicker of doubt, a last-minute reprieve. He only looks back, determined, eyes darting to Amber, then the papers, then me. "It's for your peace of mind, Mom. Please." A hush falls over the office, broken only by the steady tap of rain and the hum of the fluorescent lights. I realize I am outnumbered, outmaneuvered, boxed into a corner by love and guilt, and the desperate hope that maybe, if I go along, they'll let me stay close. My throat feels raw. I sign. My name looks foreign, scrawled across the thick white paper. My hand trembles so hard the ink blots. The banker gathers the documents, stapling them with a brisk click. Amber's lips curl into a small, satisfied smile, then vanish. Logan pats my hand, his fingers cold. "Thank you, Mom," he says, relief in his voice. "This is the right thing. You won't have to worry about a thing now. We'll take care of everything." I nod, but inside, humiliation burns. I've always prided myself on getting by, scraping, stretching, making do with less. To be told, so gently, so thoroughly, that I'm no longer fit to steer my own life. It guts me. I stand, legs weak, and let them usher me out of the office. Amber's hand is light on my elbow, but it's a guiding touch, not a supportive one. For the first time, I understand. I've been led. Not protected, not included, but led like a sheep through a gate. Outside, the rain has slowed. The sky is flat, heavy. Amber and Logan walk ahead, talking in low voices, leaving me to trail behind. I watch the back of Logan's head, searching for my little boy, the one who used to run to me for comfort. All I see is a man with burdens and secrets I'm not allowed to share. I climb into the back seat, silent. The drive home is quiet. Amber's hands steady on the wheel. Logan scrolling through messages. The world outside slides by, unnoticed. I press my forehead to the cold glass, tears threatening. Back at my apartment, I move through the rooms like a ghost. I take off my coat, fold it carefully, and sit at the kitchen table, staring at my phone. The humiliation seeps in, slow and corrosive. I try to swallow it, but my chest aches. I reach for the phone and call Rachel. She picks up on the first ring. Helen? What's wrong? For a moment, I can't speak. Tears spill over, silent and hot, rolling down my cheeks. I press my hand to my mouth, trying to breathe. Rachel's voice softens, wrapping around me like a blanket. Talk to me. What happened? I tell her everything. The meeting, the signatures, the way Amber's eyes never left mine, the way Logan parroted her words, the way my hand shook as I gave away control. Rachel listens, silent except for the occasional hum of sympathy. It's not right, she finally says. They shouldn't do this to you. You're not incompetent. You're not fragile. But I let them, I whisper. I thought, if I just went along, maybe they'd let me in. Maybe it would bring us together. That's not how it works, Helen, Rachel says, voice hardening. You know that. They want control, not family. You can fight this. You should fight this. I wipe my eyes, anger blooming beneath the grief. It's too late, isn't it? They have all the power now. Rachel's reply is immediate, unyielding. It's only too late if you give up. You have rights. You have your name on those accounts. Get your own lawyer. Find out exactly what they're doing. Don't let them shut you out. I hang up, heart pounding, fear warring with a new, steely resolve. For so long, I've been taught to defer, to say thank you, to step aside and make room. But tonight, something shifts. I stare at the folder of documents, at the grain of the wood beneath my fingertips, and I know I won't go quietly. I sit at the computer, hands steadier now. I pull up the bank statements, start combing through transactions again, searching for any sign of movement. My eyes burn, but I keep scrolling, looking for patterns, for cracks in the story they've sold me. Then I see it. A wire transfer, large and bold, marked with a string of numbers and a bank name I don't recognize. The amount is too big, the destination overseas. Amber's name is on the approval. I blink, breath caught in my throat. She's not just managing. She's moving the money, hiding it where I can't reach. The betrayal hits harder than before, cold and absolute. They didn't just want to protect me. They wanted to control, to take, to erase me from my own life. But I am not erased, not yet. I pick up the phone again, call Rachel back, voice hard and clear. I found something. Amber's transferring money out of the country. I need help, a lawyer, someone who's on my side. Rachel doesn't hesitate. I'll come over. We'll figure this out together. I hang up, staring at the screen. My humiliation is still there, still raw. But now it is edged with anger, with purpose. I've spent a lifetime surviving, enduring, waiting for scraps. No more. Tonight the tables turn. I am done being a victim. The strategist in me awakens, slow, cautious but determined. They've underestimated me, thinking gratitude meant weakness. They're about to learn different. Outside, the rain has stopped. The world is still, waiting. It's nearly midnight, but sleep is a stranger now. I sit at my kitchen table under the halo of a cheap desk lamp, its harsh bulb pooling light over a mess of documents, bank statements, emails, and a notepad covered in anxious handwriting. The apartment is silent except for the ticking clock and the soft rustle of paper as I flip from page to page, eyes gritty with exhaustion but unwilling to stop. I Google terms I barely understand. Power of attorney abuse, recovering stolen assets, rights of beneficiaries. The internet is a rabbit hole, each article leading to another question, another answer that seems both promising and daunting. Forums are full of voices like mine, betrayed, bewildered, angry. But I notice something else, too. A thread of determination, of ordinary people clawing their way back to dignity. My phone glows beside me, half a dozen open tabs marking the journey. I find the number for a local law office and hesitate, thumb poised above the call button. The urge to wait, to give Logan and Amber one more chance, rises like a reflex. But it passes, and I press dial before I can talk myself out of it. The next afternoon, I sit in a tidy, sunlit office with walls lined with books. Julia Thompson is nothing like the lawyers I'd imagined. She's younger, her smile gentle, but there's a steadiness in her gaze that calms me. She listens as I pour out the story, the words tumbling out, the ticket, the bank meetings, the slow erosion of my place in my own life. My voice shakes at first, but Julia doesn't flinch. She nods, scribbling notes, pausing only to ask precise questions. When I'm finished, Julia leans forward, her hands folded on the desk. "You're not alone, Helen. People think it's rare, but it isn't. What you're describing, coercion, abuse of trust, financial control, it happens more than you'd think, but it's not too late. You deserve justice." Something shifts inside me at those words. Not just comfort, but validation. I meet her eyes, searching for any hint of pity, but I find only resolve. She slides a packet of papers toward me, a plan of action, steps we can take. "We'll start by freezing the transfers and demanding a full accounting. I'll file a motion with the court. The important thing is, you're taking action. That's more than most people ever do." That night, I return home with a stack of legal forms and Julia's card in my purse. I flick on the desk lamp, the light painting golden pools over the chaos of paper. I sort through the documents, my hands steadier now. For the first time in weeks, I feel like the ground under me is solid. As I organize my evidence, each transaction, each screenshot, I think about the woman I used to be. There's a memory that rises, sharp and unbidden. Me at 26, holding Logan on my hip, confronting a landlord who tried to keep my deposit. I remember my knees shaking, the certainty I'd lose. But I didn't. I'd stood my ground, voice trembling but unyielding, and I'd won. I'd always told myself that was a fluke, a desperate burst of courage. But maybe it was more than that. Maybe it was strength I'd always had, just buried beneath years of sacrifice and silence. I stare at the documents scattered across the table, the neat rows of numbers and dates, and I realize I am not helpless. I have a voice, and now, thanks to Julia, I have someone willing to fight beside me. Rachel calls, her tone a mix of worry and pride. "How'd it go?" I laugh, relief bubbling up. "Better than I hoped. Julia's a fighter. She believes in me. She's already got a plan." Rachel's voice warms. "That's the Helen I remember. You've got grit, girl. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise." Later, I sit by the window, watching the city lights shimmer in the puddles below. For the first time in a long time, I let hope back in, not blind hope, something sharper, edged with strategy. My mind spins with plans, letters to the bank, calls to government offices, the steady march of paperwork and procedure. The old fear is still there, but it's no longer in charge. I think about Logan, about Amber. There's still pain, still betrayal, but now there's something else, a fierce resolve to reclaim what's mine, to prove to myself that I am not the woman they took for granted. I don't know if I'll ever have the family I once dreamed of, but I know I can fight for my dignity, for my own peace. As the night deepens, I line up the documents, each one a stepping stone toward justice. My shoulders ache, but I welcome the weight. It's the burden of action, of taking control. Julia's words echo as I turn off the lamp, settling into bed. "You deserve justice." For the first time, I believe her. For the first time, I believe in myself. Plans are forming quietly, beneath the surface. A quiet tide, rising. This isn't the end. It's the start of something new. I decide to invite them for dinner. Logan and Amber. Just the three of us. No Rachel, no Julia. It's the first time I've extended an invitation since the money changed everything, and I see it land as a surprise on Amber's face when she reads my text. "Dinner? Just us?" she responds, as if wary of a trap. Logan calls within minutes, uncertain but eager, asking what he can bring. I tell him nothing, just themselves. That afternoon, I cook methodically. the way I used to when Logan was little and a special meal could fix almost anything. I roast a chicken, mash potatoes, bake a simple apple crisp. I set the table with real plates and proper napkins, not the paper kind. I even light a candle. Subtle, nothing dramatic, just enough to make the place look warm. As I work, I think about everything Julia and I have discussed these past weeks. Her voice is always calm, a mix of mentor and advocate. Don't go in with a sledgehammer, Helen. Set boundaries, yes. But let them reveal themselves. Power isn't always loud. By the time they arrive, the apartment is spotless and smells like cinnamon. I watch from the window as their car pulls up, headlights sweeping the curb. Amber's hand lingers on the door handle before she gets out, as if she needs a second to steady herself. Logan is quiet as he walks in, hugging me awkwardly, eyes darting to the candle, the spread, the absence of any celebration. Amber hangs back, smiling too quickly, scanning for an agenda. We sit. I let the small talk happen first: weather, work, neighborhood gossip. The candlelight flickers across their faces, and I study them as I serve the food, noting every exchange. Logan relaxes a little when he realizes there's no accusation waiting in the wings. Amber stays poised, every gesture measured, but her eyes never settle. When plates are cleared and the dessert sits untouched between us, I let the silence grow. Then quietly but firmly, I say, "There's something I need to talk about. It's important." Amber's fork clatters gently against her plate. Logan straightens. I don't look down. My hands are steady now, not trembling like they did in that bank office. I keep my voice even, level, every word chosen carefully. From now on, I want full transparency. Every account, every transaction. If my name is on it, I see it. If money moves, I'm told about it. Before it happens, not after. And if you have questions about why, you can ask Julia. Amber's mask slips, just for a second. Her mouth tightens, eyes narrowing, surprise flickering before she corrals it back. "Of course, Helen. I thought we were already doing that." "We weren't," I say. "But we will now." Logan glances at her, uncertainty shadowing his face. I watch him, searching for the boy who used to trust me, the man who's become so careful. "Mom, is something wrong? You know we only want to help." I cut in gently, refusing to back down. "You can help by respecting my role. This is my life, my money, my family. I appreciate your concern, but I'm not a spectator here." I see something shift in him, relief maybe, or the burden of pretending finally easing. He nods, subdued. Amber, though, bristles. She leans forward, voice wrapped in concern, but laced with warning. "Helen, I'm worried you're letting outsiders interfere. Lawyers make things so complicated. We could solve this ourselves, as a family." I feel my spine stiffen, but Julia's words echo in my mind. "You don't have to answer accusations. Set your terms and hold them." I let Amber's words hang, meeting her gaze with a quiet certainty I haven't felt in years. "Transparency isn't complicated," I say. "It's fair. Julia's been helping me understand my rights. She's my lawyer, and she's not going anywhere. I won't discuss this behind closed doors. We'll handle it together, openly, or not at all." A long silence follows. Amber's jaw tightens. Her eyes dart to Logan, then back to me. I watch as she recalibrates, searching for leverage. I sense the psychological tension swirling, her frustration at losing control, my insistence on reclaiming it. Inside, I feel a slow bloom of pride. For the first time since all this began, I am not apologizing, not shrinking, not wishing I'd said something differently. I am not the guest at my own table. I am the host, the decision maker, the one with the final say. The conversation turns awkward, stilted. Logan tries to bridge the gap, asking about my garden, about old recipes. But Amber is checked out, her mind busy, eyes darting, fingers drumming against the wine glass. There's no warmth left in her smile. After they leave, I stand at the window, watching their taillights fade into the dusk. My heart is pounding, not from fear, but from adrenaline. I replay every word, every look. I know this isn't the end. Amber is clever, and she won't accept boundaries easily. But something fundamental has shifted. I have allies now. I have Julia, whose voice is already in my head. "You handled that perfectly. Never doubt your instincts." I have Rachel, whose encouragement never falters. I sit at my desk, lamp casting a halo over new folders, one for legal correspondence, one for bank statements, another for notes on every conversation. This is my battle map. Each document is proof that I am not powerless, not invisible. I text Julia a quick summary. She replies almost instantly, "Proud of you, keep every record. We'll get through this." As I tidy up, I feel the old pain, but it's different now. A dull ache replaced by something steely and calm. I remember other moments I found my footing. When I stood up to my landlord, when I fought for Logan's school support, when I made a life out of almost nothing. Each time it was my willingness to endure, to adapt, to insist quietly on my worth that pulled me through. Tonight, the house is quiet but not empty. Plans are forming, boundaries are set, the stakes are rising, but so is my resolve. I feel it thrumming under my skin, an alertness, a readiness for whatever comes next. I'm not waiting anymore. Tomorrow, I'll meet Julia again. Go over our strategy in detail, bring every document, every scrap of evidence. I'll call the bank, confirm every requirement in writing. I will not be shamed, not be hurried, not be managed. I will move under the radar, gathering strength where they least expect it. As I turn off the light and settle into bed, I know the next moves will matter more than ever. The game has changed. I am in it, fully, fiercely, and on my own terms. Lately, I've learned to watch the way a question lands. The briefest flicker in a face, the tremor in a voice, the shift in posture that means more than any answer. It's a skill you develop when you've lived on the margins, always guessing at what you're not being told. I take nothing at face value now, especially from Logan and Amber. This afternoon, we're sitting at their kitchen island, coffee cooling in front of us. Sunlight streaks across the polished counters, making the place look airless, expensive, just a little too curated. Logan is on his phone, scrolling through emails. Amber chops vegetables for dinner, the knife clicking methodically against the board. They make small talk, recipes, work, the weather. But I'm playing a different game now, one I've been rehearsing with Julia and Rachel for weeks. I take a breath, adopt a casual tone. By the way, Logan, did we ever sort out that last bank transfer? I was looking through the statements and a few numbers don't quite match up. Probably nothing, but it caught my eye. The knife stops, just for a heartbeat. Amber's hand hovers above the cutting board, her face neutral, but her eyes flick to Logan, then quickly away. She resumes slicing, a little too forcefully, celery crunching under the blade. Logan glances at her, then back at me, brows knitting. "What do you mean?" he asks, voice too calm. I shrug, swirling my coffee. "Just a few things moving between accounts. I figured I'd double-check with the bank this week. It's all above board, right?" He frowns, mouth opening then closing. "Yeah, it's fine, Mom. I've handled everything. You really don't need to worry." Amber adds, "We're on top of it, Helen. You can relax." But neither of them look at me when they say it. I see Amber's knuckles whiten, see the quick pulse in her jaw. For a moment, a flicker of panic surfaces in her eyes before she blinks it away, mask firmly back in place. I let the silence settle, take a slow sip of coffee. I act unconcerned, but inside my pulse is a drumbeat, steady, relentless. "You're rattled, I think. You should be." After dinner, Logan asks if we can talk. He waits until Amber is tidying up, then corners me in the hallway, blocking the path to the front door. His face is tight, pale, the boyish softness replaced by something wounded and desperate. "Mom, can we stop with this?" His voice shakes. "You're making it impossible for us to help you. Amber is stressed out. I'm doing my best. Why are you questioning everything we do?" I breathe slowly, refusing to be drawn in. I meet his eyes, calm. "I just want to be sure everything is transparent, Logan. It's my right to know where my money is going." He snaps. "You don't understand, Mom. This stuff is complicated. If you keep interfering, you'll make things worse for yourself." Fear flickers, old habits tugging at me to shrink, to apologize, to smooth things over. But I don't. I remember Julia's advice, Rachel's certainty, and my own promise. I will not disappear from my own life. My voice is steady. "I'm not interfering. I'm asking for honesty. If that makes things hard, maybe it's because they aren't as clear as they should be." He stares at me, searching for weakness. When he finds none, he drops his gaze and walks away. I gather my things, offer a cordial goodbye to Amber in the kitchen.
She's scrubbing a pot, movements jerky, face turned from me. "Have a good night, Helen," she says, too bright, her smile stretched tight across her lips. As I walk home, the streetlights blur in the drizzle, everything humming with tension. The city feels watchful, like something is about to break. Back in my apartment, I call Rachel. She's been running her own investigation, using contacts from her years in community banking. Her voice is breathless with excitement. "Helen, I found something. There's a string of transfers, tiny amounts, just under reporting limits. Then one big one sent overseas to a shell account in Amber's maiden name. The trail is messy, but it's there." My heart lurches, half fear, half vindication. "How do we prove it?" Rachel says. "You already have, don't you? You said you had access to Amber's email." I nod, adrenaline surging. A few nights ago, while Amber had been distracted by a phone call during a family dinner, I'd noticed her laptop open on the hall table, logged in. I'd scrolled through her sent mail, just curious at first, but then I saw it. A message to a Swiss bank, attached with copies of the wire instructions and a polite note confirming the transfer. I'd sent myself screenshots, every attachment, every line. My hands had been shaking, but I'd done it. I hadn't told anyone yet, not even Julia. I pull up the files now, heart thumping, and send them to Rachel and Julia, encrypted and secure. The proof is undeniable. Rachel's text comes in immediately. "You're 2 moves ahead, Helen. They don't know you know. Let's keep it that way for now." I sit back, feeling the tremor in my
Hands slowly still. I replay every detail of the evening. The way Amber's eyes darted, the way Logan's frustration boiled over. They suspect I'm closing in, but they don't realize I'm already there. The game has changed. No more victim, no more pleading. Now I am the one setting the pace. Julia calls later that night. "You did everything right. We're documenting every step. Don't let on you know what you have. The more relaxed they seem, the more they'll slip up. When the time is right, we'll strike." I thank her, gratitude and pride swelling together. For the first time, I feel like I'm in control, I admit, even if I'm scared. She's quiet for a beat. "That's what courage looks like, Helen. Not the absence of fear, the decision to move forward anyway. We're almost there." After we hang up, I sit by the window, watching rain trickle down the glass. The tension is a living thing now, thrumming through every conversation, every message. Logan is more distant, Amber's messages clipped and cold. I sense them circling, searching for weaknesses, for the moment I'll give in and hand back control. But I'm ready. Every move I make is careful, deliberate. I ask more questions, drop hints, let them think I'm uncertain but never panicked. They're off balance, never quite sure how much I know. Rachel calls again the next day, her voice low and urgent. "They'll try to rush you, push you, maybe even scare you. Stand your ground. The finish line is close." I nod, feeling the old fear, but also a new determination. I look at the evidence folder, at the emails, at the careful timeline Julia helped me build. I am prepared. The suspense coils tighter. I see Amber watching me at every meeting, every call. I see Logan's nerves, his frustration. They're on edge, sensing the storm gathering but unsure where it will hit. I fall asleep that night knowing that the next move will be mine. The showdown is coming. And for the first time, I'm not just playing defense. The living room is almost unrecognizable. I've pushed the coffee table aside, dragged the dining chairs in from the kitchen, set up a broad, battered old table square in the center of the room. It's the same table where I'd taught Logan to write his name, where Amber once sat with a cup of tea, politely asking after my health. Now, I sit at the head, my back straight, hands folded, papers arranged in neat, deliberate stacks, bank statements, emails, the official envelope from Julia's office, the printouts of wire transfers. Each document is a stepping stone in the path that led us here. The room is heavy with anticipation. A lamp pools light over the table, leaving the corners in shadow. Outside, the late afternoon sky is a slate-gray threat, rain pressing at the windows. My heart hammers, but my hands are steady. Rachel sits beside me, quiet and watchful, her eyes never leaving mine. Julia is on my other side, her briefcase open, legal pad ready. Their presence is ballast, an invisible hand on my shoulder. Logan and Amber arrive together. I hear their car pull up, the muffled closing of doors, their footsteps on the walk. When Amber enters, she freezes at the sight of the table. Its order, the documents, the arrangement of chairs. Her face is pale, lips pressed tight. Logan follows, tense, defensive, jaw clenched. Neither of them speak at first. I gesture for them to sit. Thank you both for coming. I know this isn't easy. They settle opposite me. Logan looks at the ceiling, Amber at her hands. I watch them, searching for the little boy who trusted me, and the woman who once wanted to be part of my family. All I see now is fear and calculation. I begin calmly, voice steady but unwavering. We need to talk, not around things, not in whispers or separate meetings. Here, all of us. No one interrupts. I take a breath and push the first document forward, the screenshots of Amber's email, the wire transfer request, the statement from the overseas bank. The room seems to shrink around us. I know about the money, Amber, the transfers, the accounts in your maiden name. I have proof. Emails, wire receipts, every transaction. You've been moving money out of reach, out of this family. And Logan, you signed away my rights without my understanding. I trusted you both. Amber's hands begin to shake. Logan's eyes flash, hurt and rage mixed in equal measure. Mom, what the hell is this? His voice cracks, louder than he means. Are you spying on us now? Is this what you wanted? To tear everything apart? I don't flinch. I meet his gaze, holding firm. I wanted honesty. I wanted a family. I wanted not to be erased from my own life. Amber's mask begins to slip. She tries to speak, but her voice breaks. Helen, you have to believe me. We only did it because you were struggling. You weren't coping. You needed help. Julia cuts in, her tone cool and professional. Help isn't theft. Helen is entitled to transparency and control over her own assets. What you did is not help. It's fraud. Amber crumples, tears welling up. Her shoulders shake. It wasn't supposed to go this far. She buries her face in her hands, sobbing. The room fills with her grief, but I don't let myself look away. Logan slams his fist on the table, voice cracking. You don't get it, Mom. We were trying to protect you. You never trusted us to do anything. You act like the world's always out to get you. You never let go. You make everything harder. A hot wave of memory crashes over me. My own mother at a kitchen table, her hands trembling, accusing my father of spending without asking, of hiding, of controlling. Her voice, sharp and afraid, echoing through the years. Don't trust anyone. Not with money, not with love. Protect yourself. I hated it then, how it poisoned the air, how it made me wary and suspicious. But I see it now, how fear passes from mother to child, how it shapes every decision, every silence, every word left unsaid. I speak, quietly but fiercely. I never wanted this. I wanted to believe you had my best interests at heart, but I will not be shut out, not by my own family. I will not let fear and control win, not this time. Logan glares at me, wounded. So what now? You're just going to sick lawyers on your own son? On your granddaughter's parents? Is that what you want? My hands tremble, but my voice does not. I want respect. I want what's mine. I want to stop pretending. I'm not the enemy here. You need to take responsibility for what you've done. Amber lifts her head, face streaked with tears. I'm sorry, she whispers. I never meant for it to get so ugly. She glances at Logan, lost. I thought if we controlled it, maybe we could save it. Maybe we'd be safe. Julia speaks softly, but there's steel in her voice. You can't fix fear with secrecy, Amber. The law is clear. You've committed a crime. Logan turns on her. Who are you to say what's best? For our family? This is none of your business, Rachel finally speaks, her tone gentle but unyielding. It became our business when you started hurting the woman who gave you everything. Family isn't about control, Logan. It's about trust, and you broke it. The room goes silent, the air heavy with all the words that have gone unsaid for years. My mind flashes through every small slight, every moment I let pass for the sake of peace. I think of how I shrank to fit the space they made for me, how I swallowed my voice to keep from being alone. But now with Julia and Rachel at my side, I feel something different. Strength, but also sorrow. This confrontation isn't just about money. It's about years of fear, disappointment, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, things could have been different. I look at Logan, see the pain and pride battling in his eyes. You can be angry with me, Logan. You can hate me if you need to. But I'm done living small. I'm done giving everything away just to be loved. He slumps, all fight gone, tears brimming in his eyes. Amber sobs softly, shoulders shaking. The fracture is complete, a fault line running straight through the center of the family we once were. Internally, I hold the line. For years, loyalty meant silence. Now, loyalty means honesty, even if it costs us everything. I narrate the shift in myself, the sense of dignity I reclaimed, the refusal to be shamed into complicity. I feel the weight of all the women in my family who suffered in silence, and I vow that the chain ends here. I will not pass this poison down another generation. Julia gathers the documents, stacking them with precision. The next steps will be legal ones, she says quietly. But there's still time to make things right. If you're willing to be honest, if you're willing to apologize and return what was taken. Amber nods, broken, unable to speak. Logan looks away, jaw set, the distance between us yawning wide. Rachel squeezes my hand, silent strength in her grip. The outcome is uncertain. Maybe we can build something new from the wreckage. Maybe we can't. But the charade is over. The truth is out. As the meeting ends, rain begins to fall harder, drumming on the windows. Amber and Logan gather their things in silence. No one says goodbye. I watch them go, heart heavy but unbowed. The family is fracturing, the future unclear, but for the first time in years I feel whole. All the cards are on the table. There's no turning back. The courthouse is colder than I expected, all marble and echoing footsteps, and the buzz of fluorescent lights that flatten every color into gray. Julia meets me in the lobby, briefcase in hand, eyes alert and unwavering. She's dressed in dark navy, every movement precise. Rachel sits beside me on the wooden bench, her hand steady on my arm, anchoring me as the hours stretch and the stakes rise. I've never been here before. Not as a defendant, not as a witness, not even as a spectator. It feels like the world is watching, but it's just a handful of strangers, waiting their turn for justice. I keep my hands folded, gaze fixed on the double doors. I keep seeing last night's confrontation replaying in my mind. Amber sobbing. Logan's face a mask of fury and betrayal. The house felt empty after they left, every shadow taller, every silence deeper. Julia moves quickly, speaking in low tones with the clerk, presenting papers. I watch her from a distance, my champion, my shield. She returns, her eyes softer now. We're next, Helen. Stay close. Say only what you must. The courtroom itself is a box of polished wood and tired eyes. The judge, a woman about my age, surveys us over a pair of reading glasses. On one side, Julia and I. On the other, Logan alone. He looks rumpled, eyes wild with exhaustion, lips pressed in a hard line. Amber is absent. Maybe she can't face it. Maybe she's waiting to see who wins. The proceeding is quick, but every moment thrums with tension. Julia lays out the evidence. The overseas transfers, the forgeries, the documented abuse of power. She speaks clearly, but with an edge of steel. Logan's lawyer tries to deflect. Family confusion, emotional stress, good intentions misunderstood. Logan glares at me, desperate, jaw working. Julia's voice is even as she addresses the court. The evidence of financial misconduct is clear. My client's rights have been violated. We request an immediate injunction to freeze all accounts and prevent further loss. The judge reviews the documents, her eyes moving slowly. There's a silence as heavy as a storm cloud. Then the ruling. The court will protect her. An emergency injunction is granted. All transactions are to be halted pending further investigation. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Julia squeezes my hand under the table. For a moment I feel a pulse of vindication. Years of being sidelined, second-guessed, erased, finally balanced by the weight of the law. Logan surges to his feet, voice cracking. You can't do this. She's my mother. She doesn't understand what's happening. This isn't fair. The judge's eyes flicker, her patience thinning. Mr. Taylor, you will have your opportunity to respond through counsel. For now, the order stands. He turns to me, fury burning in his eyes. You're destroying our family. Do you even care what happens next? Inside, I want to shout, Did you? Did Amber? But I only meet his gaze and let Julia's strength hold me up. I see the desperation blooming behind his anger, the realization that the ground beneath him is crumbling, that he's not in control anymore. We file out, the courthouse bright and cold. Julia is all business, rattling off next steps, but Rachel grabs me for a hug outside on the sidewalk, the city moving past us in blurred colors. "You did it, Helen," she whispers. "You're safe now." I smile, but the feeling is complicated. I am vindicated, yes, but I am not naive. Power shifts quickly, and there is always another angle, another move. I think of Amber's tears, of Logan's rage, of how fear can turn love to poison. That evening, the phone rings. Logan's name flashes on the screen. I hesitate but answer. He doesn't shout. Instead, his voice is cold, deliberate. "I hope you're happy. You've made me look like a criminal. You know what people will think? You know what our family will say?" I choose my words carefully. "You made your choices, Logan. This isn't what I wanted, but I will not let you or Amber steal from me. I will not be made small." He laughs bitterly. "You think you've won? This isn't over." We hang up. I move through my apartment, nerves still raw, each shadow whispering with uncertainty. I check the locks twice, the windows 3 times. Even as Julia assures me the law is on my side, I can feel the tension coiling tighter, like a storm gathering just out of sight. The next day, Julia calls. She's found evidence that Logan has been contacting extended family, spinning a version of events where I'm unstable, manipulated by outsiders, attacking my own son out of paranoia. The story is ugly, and I see how quickly the world will judge, how easy it is to cast the powerful woman as vindictive, the betrayed mother as unhinged. I meet Rachel for coffee. She reassures me. "People will see the truth, Helen. You've got the law and the facts." But the seed of doubt is there. How far will Logan go to protect himself? That night my phone pings, an anonymous number, a short video attached. I click. It's me, my own voice, tense and shaky from days before, recorded without my knowledge. I'm saying something that sounds cold, heartless, clipped out of context. "If it comes to a fight, I'll destroy them. I don't care anymore. I want what's mine." I feel the blood drain from my face. I remember that moment, after a sleepless night, when I'd raged alone in the kitchen, Rachel on the phone, the window open. Logan must have set up his phone just out of sight, recording me through the open door. I watched the video again, how hard, how brittle I sound, nothing of the fear or heartbreak beneath my words. The implication is clear. Logan intends to use this, to turn family, friends, maybe even the court against me. The vindication I felt in the courthouse drains away, replaced with dread. I am winning one battle, but another is coming. One fought not in legal documents, but in whispers, in the shifting sands of public opinion and family loyalty. I forward the video to Julia and Rachel, my message brief. "He's playing dirty. We need to prepare." Julia replies, "Don't react. Let him make the first move. We'll show the whole story when it matters." I nod, heart heavy, resolve hardening. I can feel the fallout building, sense the storm rolling closer. For now, I have the law, I have my truth, and I have allies. But in families, nothing is simple. Everything is at stake. As the city goes dark outside my window, I close the curtains, steady my breath, and wait. The next battle will be for more than money. It will be for my name, my story, my dignity. The endgame is coming, and every move matters now. The morning my statement goes public, the sky is bright for the first time in weeks, sun pouring through the window, painting the floor in golden stripes. I sit at my kitchen table, laptop open, Julia and Rachel on a conference call, their faces glowing from my screen. It's a quiet war room, coffee mugs and legal pads spread before me. I've spent the night editing, reading my words aloud, making sure every line lands just so. Not a single sentence is rash or vindictive. Every word is deliberate, precise, the voice I wish I'd found sooner. Julia reviews the draft one last time. "You've done exactly what you needed to do, Helen. This isn't about vengeance. This is about truth. We'll send it to the media through the legal team, and we'll hold the high ground." My finger hovers over the send button. I think of all the versions of myself that sat at this table: mother, wife, victim, survivor. I think of Logan and Amber, the nights I lay awake hoping they would love me, the months I spent shrinking to fit their expectations. Now, I see my reflection in the laptop screen, lined, older, tired, but no longer invisible. I press send. Within hours, the world changes. Headlines appear on the newsfeed. "Lottery windfall sparks family battle. Daughter-in-law and son accused of betrayal. Justice for the vulnerable. Elder financial abuse comes to light. My name is everywhere, and for once it is not an accusation but a rallying point. The statement is clear, factual, and utterly calm. I lay out the truth, the winning ticket, the hope for reconnection, the slow encroachment of control, the money siphoned overseas, the legal maneuverings, and finally, the attempted smear campaign. I ask for dignity, not vengeance. I ask for awareness, not pity. I thank Julia and Rachel by name, women who stood by me when family did not. Rachel arrives before noon, breathless, holding a stack of newspapers. You've changed the narrative, Helen. They're running with your words, not Logan's video. Public sympathy is turning. I turn on the television. There it is, my story. A panel of experts discussing financial abuse, the dangers of unchecked power of attorney. Clips of my statement flash across the screen, my voice steady even when they show Logan's recording. The segment cuts to Julia, standing on courthouse steps, making the case for every mother and grandmother who's been silenced. The hosts nod in agreement. The comments scroll fast, strangers offering solidarity, sharing stories, demanding justice. Amber and Logan appear in a short news clip, cornered by reporters outside their apartment building. Amber's eyes are red, mascara streaked. Logan is pale, jaw clenched, his carefully rehearsed lines faltering as the questions pile up. Why did you transfer money out of the country? Why did you cut your mother out of her own winnings? The sympathy they once enjoyed has vanished. They look small, overwhelmed, desperate for a narrative that isn't theirs to control anymore. Rachel squeezes my hand as we watch, the faintest tremor in hers. They can't hide behind you anymore. I nod, feeling the weight of every headline, every soundbite. There's no gloating in me, no private sense of victory, only a powerful aching clarity. I see the damage and the justice entwined. I see the truth stripped bare for the world to witness. Later, Julia arrives with a legal update. She's matter-of-fact but proud. They'll likely settle. Their lawyer knows the tide has turned. We'll push for restitution, but you decide the terms. You have the leverage now. I ask for fair restitution and public acknowledgement of wrongdoing, not because I need their admission, but because it's time for them to face themselves. I sit with Julia at the same kitchen table, pen in hand, and I sign the papers that make it all official. She looks at me, eyes soft. You did this, Helen, not just for yourself. You set a precedent for every woman who's been pushed aside. As evening falls, I step outside, the world still spinning with the noise of headlines and hashtags. I stand in the sharp sunlight, letting the warmth soak in, breathing deeper than I have in years. A neighbor catches my eye and offers a quiet nod, a small acknowledgement that means more than applause. People see me now, not as a scandal, but as a person who refused to be erased. Rachel and I take a walk, quiet except for the soft hum of traffic. How do you feel? She asks. I search for relief, but what I find is different. Something sharper, sobering. Not relieved, just clear. Like I'm finally awake after a long dream. She smiles. That's enough. You don't have to feel happy. You just have to know who you are again. We walk on, the air crisp, each step lighter than the last. I think back on the woman I was, afraid to raise her voice, quick to say thank you, always apologizing for taking up space. She's gone now, replaced by someone quieter, but infinitely stronger. There's no fantasy of reconciliation, no wish to undo what's been done. I understand that some things break and stay broken. But I found something better than hope. I found the freedom of self-respect. I'm not just a survivor, I'm the author of my own ending. At home, I file the last of the paperwork. I clear the table, run my hands over the worn wood, and sit for a moment in the hush. No more secrets, no more shrinking. For the first time, I can look in the mirror and see a woman I recognize. A woman who stood up, who lost and found herself, who took control when it mattered. My voice, once small and trembling, is steady now. I don't need it to be loud to be heard. As I drift to sleep that night, headlines fade and the city quiets. The phone doesn't ring. There's peace, even in the unfinished places. I know that closure isn't a single moment. It's a series of choices, each one reclaiming a little more ground. And I know that no matter what comes next, I will never again give away my story for someone else's comfort. Tomorrow, I'll wake up and make coffee. I'll call Rachel. I'll meet Julia for lunch. Life won't be perfect, but it will be mine. Honest, unshrinking, hard won. I'm moving forward. Toward closure, toward peace, toward myself. 6 months have passed, though it feels both longer and shorter. Time folding in on itself. Grief and relief mingling in the silent spaces of my days. The world outside my window is bright with morning. Pale sunlight slanting across the floorboards. The city just beginning to stir. I sit at my kitchen table, alone but not lonely. Journal open in front of me, pen poised in my hand. The apartment is still. I hear the distant clatter of a neighbor's coffee pot, a child's laughter echoing in the hallway, life moving on as it always does. I look around. Everything here is mine, shaped by my own choices. There are new touches, the cheerful yellow teapot I bought as a gift to myself, a thriving basil plant on the windowsill, a framed photograph of Rachel and me, arms slung around each other's shoulders, grinning. Some things I kept. Old family photos, Logan's childhood drawing, a faded scarf from Amber's first Christmas. But the meaning of these artifacts has changed. They are memories, not chains. My hand moves slowly across the page, words coming one at a time, deliberate and careful. What is family? What does it mean to belong? I've asked myself these questions for months, tracing the edges of heartbreak, loss, and finally acceptance. A knock at the door startles me. I open it to Rachel, her arms already wide for a hug. She brings fresh bread from the bakery downstairs, settling in at the table with me as if she's always belonged here. We talk over tea and buttered toast, our conversation meandering from neighborhood gossip to politics to memories of the trial. She looks at me, head cocked, concern flickering in her eyes. How are you, really? You've come so far. But do you ever wonder if it was worth it? I take a moment, searching for truth. I'm free, but at what cost? The words hang between us, heavy but honest. Rachel sighs, squeezing my hand. You didn't choose this, but you survived it. There's a difference. I nod, watching the way the sunlight catches dust motes in the air, turning them to gold. I know. Some mornings I wake up and I almost call Logan like nothing ever happened. Other days I feel lighter than I ever did before. I don't know if I'll ever stop missing the family I thought I had, but I don't miss the fear. I don't miss being silent. We sit in companionable quiet, listening to the city's hum. There's no word from Logan and Amber, not for months now. I sent letters, each one gentler than the last, hoping for a sliver of peace. Only silence came back, echoing down the years of trust broken and choices made. There is no reconciliation, at least not yet, and maybe not ever. I mourn it, but I don't chase it. For once, I let things be what they are. Instead, I find belonging in smaller, quieter places. The book club at the library, where women trade paperbacks and stories. The knitting group at the community center, where hands work in rhythm and laughter comes easy. Sunday dinners at Rachel's, full of mismatched plates and the warmth of people who choose each other, week after week. Sometimes Julia drops by with a stack of legal papers and a knowing smile, reminding me that victory is measured in boundaries reclaimed, not bridges rebuilt. The neighborhood knows my name now, not as a headline but as a person. The baker waves, the mail carrier lingers for a chat, the young woman across the hall brings her dog for a visit on lonely afternoons. Bit by bit, I discover that family isn't only in the blood that ties us, but in the kindness we give and accept, in the courage to stay open after pain. Sometimes I catch myself wishing things could be different, that Logan and Amber might walk through my door, apologies and forgiveness freely given. But I no longer build my life on wishes. I honor the ache, but I don't let it rule me. There is a peace in this, an honesty that steadies me, even as the old wounds sometimes throb in quiet hours. Trauma leaves marks, I know. Some fade, others linger beneath the skin, flaring when the weather changes or memories surface. But resilience is a living thing, growing stronger every time I choose myself. I think back on the woman I was, shrinking, apologizing, desperate for scraps of affection, and I barely recognize her now. My voice has changed, softer sometimes, but certain. My eyes meet their own reflection without shame. At the window, I watch the sunrise burnished on the city's rooftops, promising another ordinary, extraordinary day. I let the past settle behind me, not erased, but transformed. Rachel pours more tea, her laughter filling the room.
The basil on the sill catches the sun and turns toward it, leaf by leaf, green and stubborn and alive. When Rachel leaves, I linger at the door, watching her go. The hallway is bright, full of echoes and new beginnings. I close the door softly behind her, feeling the wood solid in my hand. On the other side, the sunrise spills gold across my kitchen table, catching on the
Words I've just written in my journal. I am enough. I am whole. I belong, here, now, and always. For a moment, I let myself sit in the quiet, savoring the warmth and the peace. Then I stand, open the curtains wide, and step into the morning, alone, but unbroken, moving forward into the light. Ever wondered what you'd do if your own family betrayed you for fortune? Share this story with someone who believes blood is always thicker than water, then ask them, what would you risk for justice? Let's talk about the real price of trust and the hidden strength it takes to claim your own story. Your voice, your story, your dignity. Don't wait for a lottery to fight for them. Who would you trust if everything was suddenly on the line?